Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward, y'all. Today is absolutely no different. I have something that I want to share with you today. I was going to use it as my talking point in my spiritual nightcap last night. And, again, it is my intention to come forward consistently with all of the things that I love to do, the nightcap, the Hey Friend episodes and things of that nature. But sometimes I get so, there are many things that I'm dealing with that I just don't discuss because it doesn't matter. What difference does it make? It's not going to help me to discuss it. I'm one of those people that I don't complain. I wasn't raised, my dad raised me in a way where we couldn't complain. We had to solve the problems, and we could discuss about things, the struggles we had in solving the problems, but we couldn't harbor on the problems. So that's just kind of how I'm set up. So in being able to come forward with these perspectives and to deliver upon the things that I love and that I promise to deliver upon, normally it would be easy for me to do. It would be easy as 1, 2, 3. I'm very action oriented. But because of the stumbling blocks and all of the things that I deal with just daily, it's very difficult. But I don't discuss it, so it looks like I don't deal with anything. It looks like I'm just taking my time and enjoying, the scenic route. But that's not the case. It's absolutely not that. If you knew what it took to come forward and just do this podcast, you would look at it completely different. But, it's not set up for you to be able to see it that way. So there's no way for me to speak on that or to capitalize off of that. That's the kind of game I'm in. That's the kind of positioning I'm in life, where I don't have the luxury of of being, looked upon because of those things. My walk is that I've got to deliver regardless, even if nobody knows about it or if the world knows it. Anyway, today's conversation is about blindly following people. I'm going to lead with scripture. Chapter 24 of the book of Matthew, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Jesus says a powerful statement. He said, pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to everything that's going on. Do not discredit anything, so that no man deceives you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. We're going to park right there. I'm going to do a series on this, and it begins today, on not being deceived and on deception. I opened up with the communication to you of the struggles that I go through to just deliver upon these podcasts and these Bible studies and the Sunday services and all of the different things that I deliver upon weekly. And even to conjure the spirit within me to create newness, such as, delivering upon my skincare line and bringing that to the forefront and creating marketing campaigns to promote that. All of these things would be easy for someone like me. Literally, it wouldn't take it. I don't want to make it seem like I got all the answers over here and I'm walking on water, because I'm not, and I do not have all the answers. But I'm a very action-oriented person. Yet, the struggles that I deal with are personal struggles, somewhat, And they're not to be conveyed openly. There's no way I could convey them to you openly. And this is the structure in which I am moving. And I could look at this situation and say, woe to me. What a terrible hand I've been dealt. Why would God allow this? And I've done all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm still posed with the problem. It doesn't change anything. And the alternative thought would be, what can be gained from this? How have I been able to circumnavigate these seas thus far? And what have I benefited? In what way have I benefited from the movement that I've had in this particular scenario? Have I gained? I've gained. I've been able to overcome. Surely I haven't been able to have a rally of people around me to pity me and to say, oh, we're sorry this happened to you, and those are bad people and they need to be punished and you need to be exalted and all of that kind of stuff. I haven't had that luxury. Neither have I expected it. The only thing that I've expected is for God to lead me through it and for me to pay attention while I walk through it and to take every single experience in so that I gain from them and that I add those weapons that I've used in my arsenal of weaponry and those techniques that have benefited me in my arsenal of techniques so that I am made better, and in turn I can offer them up to someone else so that they are made better. That overshadows any complaint. That overshadows the camaraderie that I would get with any mortal person who's bound to the same fluctuations of temperament as I am. That is the constant and consistent thing that I can rely upon. And that is what Jesus is speaking to here in this scripture. I know it doesn't make sense to you, but I'm going to make it make sense. The disciples have come to Jesus and they've shown him around different buildings within the environment. And now in verse 3, Jesus has gotten to a place where he's examined all that they wanted to show him, and he's sitting. And it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So now the disciples all come and they feel like, okay, I'm going to have my one-on-one with Jesus. I'm going to get Jesus to tell me something that he hasn't told anybody else, so that I can go back and market myself as greater than based upon what blessings I got from Jesus. They want to know what the end is going to be, how it's all going to turn out, based upon what is currently going on. And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, friend. He's saying, pay attention to your environment. I need you to be privy to the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't need you to shun and shy away from any of it. I don't need you to feel as if you are too good to know about any of it. Thus, what Jesus is saying is, I don't need you to feel like you're too good to interact at any level in this environment, regardless to who it may be. To the sinners, I need you to be able to interact with. To the righteous, I need you to interact with. And to all of those that flip-flop in between, I need you to be able to interact with. Because this is the only way you're going to be able to get the fullness of what is going on around you. This is a word for everybody today. There are many of you in communities, local communities. It's your job to know what's going on in your community. Many of you on jobs. It's your job to know what's going on within that job environment. Whether in families, it's your job to know all of the personalities and the activities of what is going on in your family structure. But it is not your job to allow the current, the movement, the vibration of any of those environments to change you. You see, you've got to already be set up in a way where you are centered. You're centered in your central access point, grounded in your knowing, so that when you are interacting with all of these various individuals in all of these varied environments, you're not swayed from your central access point off into some other space. That you stay grounded, and you're able then to take in the information that is being conveyed in that environment and decipher the truth of it. This is the goal. And this is what Jesus is saying. He's saying, look around and watch and see and interact, but take heed. Do not allow yourself to be deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. This goes back to the conversation I had about illusions. Many will come upon you with a falsehood, a lie, based upon what looks like truth. It could be something in your work, at your job. Someone could create a rumor, a falsehood, a lie, in another person's name, saying that another person did this or a person did that. That person might not even know anything about that. But they will use people, temperament of that person at certain times, examples of situations that may have happened amongst that person at a certain time, to justify the lie, to elongate the lie. Friend, there are people in life that will set up scenarios to make themselves look as if they're the victim. And you've been nothing but a blessing to these people. Your only sin is being a blessing to these people and giving them the benefit of the doubt, showing love and compassion to them. That's your only sin. And because you've shown love and compassion and patience, they can turn that and say something altogether different. Because anybody else would have ridded themselves of these people long ago. So onlookers looking in on the situation would say, oh, well, it must be true. Why else would they do that? Jesus is saying the same thing here. He's saying, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. They will come saying that they are something that they are not, based upon half-truths. What's a half-truth? If I tell you one thing and you tweak it to make it into something slightly different, that is a half-truth. If you have a situation on your job or in your community or within your social environment or network that really is nothing for you to be condemned for, you should be applauded for. But because someone has an ulterior motive, they can tweak that situation and go and speak to their network of friends about it and sell them on it as if it's true. Jesus says, take heed that no man deceive you, friend. This is the first conversation that I'm going to have on this, because someone needs to say something about it. I've not ever lived life where there were so many people that just blindly followed other people and their stuff. When you blindly follow people and their stuff and you bandwagon on to people and their lies against innocent people, you take on that sin. You take on that mantle. And whether you believe in the Judeo-Christian Bible's concept of spirituality or you believe in whatever other concept of spirituality there is in the world, all of it is condensed down to the same thing, whether you call it karma or you call it punishment, retribution, divine retribution, whatever you call it. It boils itself down to the same thing. God created all of us to be independently sovereign beings. You were born sovereign. No one needs to give you your sovereignty. No one needs to stamp it on your birth certificate, your sovereignty. None of that. Your sovereignty overshadows all the systems of the world, friend. Legitimately. Your sovereignty is a divine sovereignty. God does not honor man's systems. God honors divine systems. So whatever matrix you're terminating out of, whatever social system, governmental body, whatever you're dealing with, that's that body or that system that you, the person, aligns to in waking life. But that system has no power over your spirit. That system has no power, over your soul. You're talking two separate things. When Jesus said, give Caesar what is his, give Caesar what is Caesar's, and God what is God's, he was exactly right. You've got to be able to know the differences. A lot of times we bundle all this stuff together. It is not a group connection. They are oil and water. Your sovereignty is what you are judged off of. The decisions you make in your life under your sovereignty, with the capacity that God has given you and blessed you with, the crown that God has blessed you within your waking life. And what you choose to do with that power, with that time, with those resources is all on you. And you will not be able to blame somebody else. Oh, well, Rico told me such and such, and now, I didn't know Rico was lying. Well, you're going to have to deal with whatever comes with Rico. You and Rico going to have to work that out, friend. In the physical and in the spiritual. You've double whammied yourself banking on Rico that's leading from ego and because he's confused and lost. Because he doesn't have any guidance or direction. And he doesn't feel strong about himself. So he has to go and try to undermine people. I spoke to this yesterday with the gentleman that came in on the podcast and kind of gave me a one-liner to really get me to deviate from the plan. Everybody's struggling with something. And just because you're struggling with something doesn't mean that your struggle is more necessary than somebody else's. You're expected to deal with the things that you struggle with. This is a platform for people that may be struggling with something, but it is not a place for me to pacify you and to gaga and goo-goo you. Jesus says in this scripture, take heed that no man deceive you, friend. He didn't say lean on one another so that no man deceive you. He didn't say go and consult the priest so that no one deceive you. He didn't say go read this book. He said take heed. Take it upon yourself to do everything you can to be knowledgeable of your environment. Don't shy away from the different personalities in your environment. Don't think you're God and that you can judge people and say, well, I'm not going to go hang out with them, or I'm not going to listen to them because they're bad people, or I'm going to only deal with them because they're good people. You may be wrong, because what he's saying here is that what it looks like a lot of times is not what it is. He says, many will come in my name saying that I am Christ, and shall deceive many. He's saying you're not going to be able to trust what people tell you. And if they will lie on me, and I've come in the name of my Father doing nothing but miracles and blessing people, what more will they do to someone else? What more will they do to those that follow me? I was in a class last week of mothers. I was in a class of all women, well, mostly women. Actually, yes, the second class I was in was all women, and they were all mothers. And the instructor in the class was asking all the women in the class, if you're working at your desk and you're doing your work and you're being productive, and someone comes to your desk and starts gossiping about people, just comes to your desk and starts telling you all the office gossip, how do you handle that? And of course, I didn't raise my hand. I just I like to sit in the backdrop and watch and listen to what people say. So I let everybody say what they had to say. And then I said what I had to say. And I thought, everybody that came forward said, I would tell them that they shouldn't be gossiping, and I would try to correct them and tell them that, the work environment is not a place of gossip, and, all that kind of stuff. But that's not always true. We know people don't do that. Surely you'll do that, but for the most part, you're not going to do that. So I said, I wouldn't rebuke anybody. I would allow them to do what they want to do. They felt so comfortable with me that they could feel as if they could come and talk to me about this type of thing. I'm going to let them do that. But while they're talking, I'm going to take mental note as to what they're saying. I'm going to cross-reference it to what I've learned of this other person if I've met them. And I'm going to tuck it in my back pocket. But most importantly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to control my response to them. I'm not going to feed into that with lies and deception or more gossip. I'm going to be the voice that is using this opportunity to get vital information as to what is going on in my environment to help me understand my environment better. Because me saying something to this person is not more than likely going to change the dynamic that's already pervasive in this environment. But me observing what is being said and learning of this infraction or this conversation, the who's who and what's what of it, can better empower me to understand the fullness of the people in the environment and the environment itself, so that I am not deceived, so that I take heed. And I am not controlled by the deception of the environment, but that I move fluidly while in this environment in knowledge of the players and the game that is going on before me. And that is my word to many of you. Whether you are in local communities or you are in business offices or you are in social circles, take heed of the players, the people that are projecting and what they're projecting. Understand their personality types and understand what is being projected and to whom. And in you knowing this, you are better able to navigate the environment without it deceiving you, without you following an agenda like the Apostle Paul. You following an agenda with the righteous spirit, thinking you're doing the right thing, but the whole time you're following liars, manipulators, insecure people, people that feel inferior to the person, instead of them feeling as if they're doing the righteous thing by God or the righteous thing by the law or the righteous thing in whatever capacity. That spirit that's leading them forward is a spirit of inadequacy, probably jealousy and envy. And they just need more people to add to the head count of their agenda to attack worthy, righteous, innocent, good people. This is my word for you today, because it's a lot of that going on, a lot of bandwagon going on. And don't let it happen to you, because just as it happened to the Apostle Paul, even though he was fooled by the leaders of the house. He thought he was doing the right thing. And they all supported him. And in their support, it solidified him in thinking that he was doing the right thing. Only to find out that he had done a tremendous sin, friend, against nobody but himself. And because he acted in accordance to what he thought was righteousness, and that was supported by the leaders of the house, it didn't matter. He could not barter off the result of his actions to those that misled him. He couldn't say, okay, I'm not wearing this. I'm not going down with this sin. I'm going to give this over to the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the chief priests and the elders. There's no way to do that. And that is what people do. People will use you to be the fall guy to their stuff. And how does it stick? Because we're all sovereign. You are born with a crown on your head, friend, that says sovereign. That has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't have anything to do with a birth certificate. I see people on social media, oh yeah, you got to go to court and tell them that you're a indigenous whatever, and you don't want a birth certificate, and you don't want all this kind of stuff. Do you think God cares about that? At the end of the day, do you think he's going to want to see a birth certificate? All of these things are man-made constructs. They are things that legitimize the movement of systems and people in the world. Oil and water. But spiritual systems, spiritual stuff, says that you are born a divine sovereign being with dominion on this plane. You don't need permission to move from one region of this plane to the next as it relates to God in spirit. You are not transgressing the law of God if you move from Alaska to Florida. You are not transgressing the will of God if you move from Maine to Africa. You have divine dominion anywhere on this plane of existence. Yet the matrices, the systems you add on top of that have nothing to do with God, require you to do so because you've agreed to align to that. Two separate systems. And all I'm saying to you is that God's systems will hold you accountable. God's system doesn't care about all of the buffoonery and all of the knick-knack kind of stuff that led you to your deception or how the deception occurred. He doesn't care. He cares about what intelligence you've used to stand in such an authoritative space that God gave you. How do I justify your existence in creating you with such authority when you don't even stand in it? You expect other people to lead you. You should stand in your own authority. If someone comes to you and tries to misalign you against one of your brethren or sistren, regardless of ethnic background or cultural diversity, who cares? You are divinely sovereign to tread upon any area of this plane. All is yours. And that does not begin and end with a skin color. All is yours. And if someone can convince you to war with another person to fulfill their agenda, then all that means is you've allowed that person to partake of your divine sovereignty, or that you've used your divine sovereignty intentionally or unintentionally for wickedness. And you'll have to pay the price for that. It's sad to say, and I know it sounds harsh, but these are the realities of things. How much longer will we in communities allow people to lead us astray? People in the community to keep a particular image or a name, listening to others in the community befall such things, and no one comes to visit. You're just another person that fell into that type of system. When does the cycle end? When do we begin putting on our thinking caps and saying, I'm strong enough to say I'm not with this. My life matters. I wasn't created just to be doing this, even though I love these people. And if they love me the way I love them, they'll understand. I love my family more. I love myself more. I love the God within me more than to press or decompress the God energy down within me and shun it and hush it just so that I can fit in with these people. This is important. And we need to really pay attention to this because this is paramount. It's happening all the time. Stop letting people mislead you because they're going to lead you straight to hell. This is my word for you today. You love more than you'll ever know. I'll never stop telling you. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.